my name is Kelsey Canati, and this is my What Makes Me Creative exercise. So in today's business world, it's no longer really enough to just be rational, sensible, and conventionally intelligent. Today, to really excel in business, and particularly advertising, it's very important that people have a certain level of creative intelligence. In this video, I'm going to show you why I'm creative and why that creativity is worthy of an Ogilvy Mather 2012 Associate through my special recipe for Kelsey's kick-in-the-mouth cayenne cupcakes. The first step in this recipe is to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. The first component of my creativity that I'm going to draw out from this recipe is the egg. The egg is a symbol of childhood and your roots. So I would say that my roots personally contributed to my creativity through several factors. First of all, I was an only child, and also my parents worked full-time while I was growing up. So that meant I spent a lot of time alone using my imagination to entertain myself. Also, I watched a ton of television and movies, which led to me becoming a huge enthusiast for all sorts of media. It also led me at a very young age to want to create my own media. When I was about 7 years old, I'd make my dad film Kelsey's Funniest Home Videos in the bathroom, where I would grab a little fake microphone, put on a tutu, and pretend I was hosting a show. Now we're going to take these eggs, crack them into a large mixing bowl, and then we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1 cup of sour cream.
And you're going to slowly turn it on. First you got to pour it up. Hold your mixing bowl.
The sour cream brings me to the second component of my creativity. The sour cream represents my intuition because, as an ingredient, sour cream is something that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think would work in cupcakes unless you've had a little bit of experience and intuitive knowledge of baking. So intuition has served me really well outside of baking. For instance, when I first came to Northwestern University, I had to use a lot of intuitive leadership knowledge when I became the first freshman to serve on the executive board of our student government. When I was elected the vice president of public relations for our student body, I had to whip together a lot of intuitive knowledge that wasn't necessarily based on things I had done before in that exact role, and that intuition led me to come up with really creative ideas such as the Stall Street Journal bathroom newsletter and a program called Dorm Storms, where myself and my public relations committee would go around to all of the dorms on Northwestern's campus and engage in conversations with students. To me, the dry ingredients represent my adaptability and flexibility. Because as you can see, dry ingredients are so easy to mix because they don't stick to each other and they move freely amongst themselves. Going to school in Chicago, working in New York, living in San Francisco, and studying abroad in London has really been a great series of experiences, but I never would have been able to handle it without a certain level of adaptability and flexibility in different situations. The fourth major step is to combine butter, cocoa, and water in a medium saucepan and bring it to boil over medium heat. As I'm about to add this 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, I'm reminded of how my genetic inclination has a lot to do with why I'm creative. So although both my parents are very analytically minded, they both do things in their own way. So the cocoa is really the essence of the cupcake, as my genetics and my genetic inclination is the essence and the foundation of my creativity. Once you've added your cocoa powder, you're going to gradually add 2 sticks of butter. So that comes out to 8 ounces total. Woo, that's hot. As well as 1 cup of water. Once your cocoa powder, water, and butter mixture comes to a boil, you're going to remove it from the heat and you're going to add it to the egg mixture from before. And immediately after you add it, you're going to start whisking in the dry ingredients. Right, going rogue from behind the camera. Once you add the cocoa mixture, the dry ingredients, and your egg mixture from before, it should start to look a little bit like this. The next very, very, very important ingredient is cayenne pepper, which makes these cupcakes cayenne cupcakes. This cayenne pepper is very important to me because it represents the role that fearlessness and daring have in my creativity. In high school, I was in charge of emceeing all of our school's pep rallies. This meant standing in front of 2,000 students about every month, usually standing in ridiculous costumes and trying to get them all extremely excited about football players, cheerleaders, and all that stuff that contemporary high schoolers just don't care about. And then going into college, fearlessness helped me create my very own limited liability company called MyCat Enterprises LLC. Our first major service in the company was to provide bus transportation to a popular bar off campus. So we called the bus the Deuce Caboose because we bus students out to the Deuce, which is a very popular bar that sits midway between our Evanston campus and downtown Chicago. So this presented a pretty big issue to students because they would pay a lot of cab fare each week just to get to kind of crappy bar. So we thought it would be better to provide regular old school buses to run continuously between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. every Thursday. I got to really dive headfirst into entrepreneurialism and create a whole business knowledge that I just didn't have before. So now that you know how being daring has helped me be more creative, it's time to make these cupcakes a little bit more fearless. We're going to add about a teaspoon and a half of cayenne pepper. Now that we're finished with the batter, it's time to fill these cupcake tins. Similar to a cupcake tin, my analytical skills have really helped me reinforce my creative knowledge and my creative abilities. By being financially savvy, I've been able to serve on Northwestern Student Activities Finance Board, help a local nonprofit theater company create a new pricing model, and serve as VP of Finance for my sorority. Without a good base of analytical skills, I would never have been able to get my creative ideas off the ground in such an efficient manner. Now that our cupcakes are warm in the oven, it's time to make our ganache icing. Ooh. In order to make our ganache icing, you gotta beat the crap out of a chocolate bar. In order to make our ganache icing, you first start with a chocolate bar, which you're gonna break into many, many fine pieces. And then you're gonna heat it up with heavy cream over a hot saucepan. The chocolate ganache icing that goes on our beautiful cayenne cupcakes is a little bit lighter than the buttercream or a lot of heavier frostings that you see on cupcakes nowadays. And I think this really represents my sense of humor. It's really hard to get your creativity off the ground if you take life very seriously. So, in order to really develop my creativity, I found it helpful to use an air of humor in everything you do. Having a sense of humor was an absolute necessity back when I was interning at Hearst magazines. One of my first assignments was to write copy for KY lubricating jelly. Let's just say that I definitely needed to have a strong backbone and a lot of sense of humor. In order to get finely chopped semi-sweet chocolate, we're going to throw it into this little baby Cuisinart and pulverize it. Before putting in the Cuisinart, you just break it up like that. So, once you've finely chopped your chocolate and brought your butter and cream mixture to a boil, slowly add the heated mixture to the crushed chocolate until you get a smooth consistency just like that. Yummy ganache. The final ingredient that I'm going to compare to an origin of my creativity is this little packet of red icing. With this, I will be writing some words onto the cupcakes, and words are very, very closely tied to my creativity because I love wordplay. Case in point, I'm currently on my 39th page of puns that I've either found and admire or that I made up myself. Yes, I am the world's biggest word nerd. Through the baking of these beautiful Kelsey's Kick-in-the-Mouth cayenne cupcakes, I've hopefully given you a better idea of why I'm creative, where that creativity has come from, and why that creativity is worthy of an Ogilvy associate. I know y'all prefer that we don't send anything through the mail, so unfortunately you can't taste these quite yet, but if I see you at Super Saturday, then I just might bring some treats to make the experience as sweet for you as it would be for me. Happy holidays and enjoy the new year!